Mitch, last week's press conference, you said it was recruit, rest, and recover. How did the rest and recover part go this week?
I think it went well. You know, we got the kids in here last night and had a team meet, just kind of making sure everybody got back off the road, and no major incidences and anything like that. So all in all, it was a good weekend for the guys. Coaches went out and did a little bit of recruiting, got to see some high schools, and I got to see some young talent, and the kids got a chance to go home, and see mamas and daddies and girlfriends and stuff like that. So all in all, it was good.
I know everyone talks about having 2 weeks to prepare when you have that bye week for the next opponent, but giving some time off, it's probably not all on the field, but a lot of that extra time, I guess, is spent in the film, having extra time to prepare.
Yeah, it is. And one thing we do now, we don't do because I've always been told, when you have a bye week, you got to be very careful, because what you tend to do as a coach is you just add and add and add and add and add to your call sheet and to your game plan, and before you know it, when you get into game week, you go out there, tomorrow on Tuesday, and you've got more plays than you've ever had, and the kids are overwhelmed, and the more time you sit in there and watch them, the more you sit there and go, man, this could be good, this could be good, this could be good. And so we were very careful of that. What we did was we took our off week and we worked mainly fundamentals with our dress squad guys, with our starters and things of that nature. We worked a lot of fundamentals, and then we got a lot of looks at our young kids, our developmental squad, guys who have been on the look squads and working out 4 times a week and things of that nature. We took them out there, got a lot of team periods with those guys, and just tried to develop some of those guys during that week.
Could you give us a Janowski Davis injury update?
Yeah, I think he'll be okay by the time Saturday rolls around. During the week we'll have to watch him a little bit through practice, because he's got a little groin and an ankle component right there. But I think he'll be okay. We'll probably sit him, do minimal work Tuesday and Wednesday, just because he's that type of guy. He can show up on Saturday and be okay with minimal work through the week. So that's probably how we'll handle him.
Of the developmental players that you guys were able to take a look at, was there anybody or anything that stood out to you?
No, not really, other than just their effort. I thought, man, we did a couple of team periods, turned the music on, and let those guys have a blast. Tuesday was a full contact to the ground, scrimmage, and those guys got after it. They've been kind of cooped up holding bags and things like that all year, so they finally got a chance to hit each other and do some things. So overall it's just a fun time. I didn't see anything. We saw a lot of positives. A lot of guys that we recruited out of high school. It was good. They showed up on tape just like we thought they would, but nobody in particular.
Okay. With the guys coming back, now this is going to be a normal, game preparation week. I would, coming off the bye week, I would assume everybody's pretty healthy, and I bet their adrenaline's probably pretty high right now. Would that be the case?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. We're pretty healthy. For this time of year, that's one thing, knock on wood, that I do feel really good about is our health. We got a couple bumps and bruises and ankles and all of that, but nothing too major. Our theme of the week going into this week is intensity and sustained intensity, and a lot of that has to do with the Austin Peay game. I did not think that we sustained a whole lot of intensity for the full 4 quarters, so that's something that we've kind of stressed in the off week and moving forward to this week. And playing a team like UT Martin, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to get into some situations where something may not go your way, and you got to be able to bounce back and keep your intensity and move forward. So that's kind of our word of the week moving forward, is just intensity, and that starts tomorrow in practice, and hopefully they'll rise to the challenge.
You've given up a lot of points to Martin in the past couple of games, past couple of years. What have y'all done to prepare a little bit different for that, because they still have Jared Neal at quarterback and some of the same weapons that they've had in the past? Yeah, well, this will be a plate. This will be a plate game for us on our big win wall, because I think the last time we went to UT Martin and won was 2003, I think. It's a tough place to play. The environment's not real great a lot of times, and that's the reason why we've got to do a good job of keeping our intensity throughout the game.
You know, and we've got to play four quarters. I mean, that's the bottom line. What it boils down to. The previous times we went down there and played at their place, you know, we did not play 4 quarters. We started the last time we were down there. We started really good. I think we had a punt block. We had a fumble recovery for a touchdown, and then we just kind of fizzled out. So, you know, the bottom line is we've got to play 4 quarters, and that's the way it's going to be for our whole entire schedule the rest of the way, because, you know, there's some really good football teams that we're getting ready to play, and if you don't show up for all 4 quarters, then it's not going to go your way.
Like you said, you haven't played that well down there in recent years. Do you consider this to be one of y'all's big rivalry games each year when you look forward to going to?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I like Coach Simpson a lot. It's one of those, I love to hate him. You know, me and him have a really good relationship. He's been unbelievable to me, and he's done a tremendous job at that program. And for whatever reason, this has kind of turned into kind of a personal rivalry, I guess, with us and them. You know, obviously EKU being an in-state rival and everything, but UT Martin, just because we have had a lot of great games since I've been here since 2010. You know, a lot of it's funny because one year you'll be a lopsided game, and then the next year it'll be a shootout, and then the next year it'll be kind of a lopsided game, then it'll be a shootout. So you just never know what you're going to get with these two teams, and I think that they match up. We match up very well with them. They match up very well with us, just from a personnel standpoint, and it makes for a lot of fun. Now you got, you know, I got Chris Boone, my defense coordinator. He used to coach down there. Brandon Cooper, my special teams guy. He used to coach down there and played there. So there's a lot of similarities and a lot of things going on this week that make it fun. You know, with the two teams.
Specifically, you talk about the similarities. The 2 quarterbacks statistically are the 2 best in the OVC this year. Yeah. What do you see in that quarterback matchup, and how KD goes in that game along with Jared Neal?
Well, you know, I think they do a tremendous job offensively. They always have. I think Coach Simpson calls the plays still. He does a tremendous job with them offensively. And I think, you know, bottom line is I think whatever quarterback can come out of that game with the cleanest jersey will probably be the winning quarterback. If we can keep KD off the ground and not let them get a lot of hits on him, I think that's going to be our biggest thing going into the game, because they're very good at pressuring the quarterback. They're very good at putting hits on the quarterback and affecting the quarterback. And on the flip side, we've got to be very good at putting some pressure on their quarterback and putting hits on their quarterback. And so if we get, you know, to the end of the game and KD's white jersey looks a lot cleaner than theirs, we'll be doing okay. If KD's is ripped up and it's green and it's tore to shreds, there's a good chance we didn't do very well.
We know offensively that they're the Jared Neal show with you know, a lot of wide receiver talent, but what do you see out of them defensively going into this game? Is that something you've looked at yet?
Yeah, speed, and they have what makes them fun to compete against is they have a kind of a personality about their defense. They'll put their back end guys in some awkward positions, man coverage. I mean, I looked on the film at one point. Ole Miss is on the 6-yard line, and they've got Treadwell out there, number 1, who's arguably one of the best receivers in the country. He's man-to-man. Man-to-man, no safety help over the top. It is man-to-man. They devote a lot of people to the box, try to stop the run, some things like that. So they've got kind of a confidence, especially in that back end, where they think that they can man you up. So I think going into the game, that's going to be something that we're going to have to – I think that's going to be a big key to the game, is how our receivers, our offensive skill do against their back end. Because if you can't get those guys open, they are so athletic and so talented enough, and they put so many guys around the box, they'll put hits on your quarterback. They can get to your quarterback. So you got to get the ball out of your hand, and you got to get open on the back end, or else it's going to be a long day for you.
I assume in that situation then you're going to expect good things out of Roman Clay to alleviate some of that pressure, maybe even, you know, some Nick Taylor, Marcus Holliday mixed in.
Yeah, we're going to have to get, you know, it's like anything. If you want to throw the ball, you want to be effective passing the ball, you got to run it. And if you want to be effective running it, you got to pass it. And especially versus this guy, you know, this crew with as many people as they put around the box and how they try to stop the run, you've got to be able to run it a little bit, or else you're not going to be very effective in the pass game, and vice versa. So, you know, we're gonna try to stay as balanced as we can, but it's like I've said before, it's all just football math. If they've got that many people devoted to the run, we're going to have to do a good job throwing it and try to loosen those guys up. And then once they loosen up, we've got to be able to see that and adjust to it and start running the football.
I know you can't talk about it, just to shift gears a little bit. You can't talk about anybody in particular, but the recruiting part of this last week, what are there target areas that you guys are looking at to fill in for the next couple of years?
Yeah, you know, we've got it'll be a big class graduating after this year. You know, but we've got you know, we've got a lot of issues, but we'll handle those. You know, once December comes, once January comes. Right now I'm more focused on trying to put the guys that we have on the team in the most successful positions during their time here. And then once we say goodbye to those guys, then we'll worry about filling in where needed.
Just looking at the glancing at the stat sheet here, it looks like UT Martin, out of their 4 quarters, they've given up the most points in the first quarter. So just if you could talk about, you know, the pertinence of, you know, getting off to a good, you know, quick start.
Yeah, well, I've said before, you know, that's one thing that has kind of plagued us, and it's a huge emphasis on this football team. I thought we did a really good job of it versus Austin Peay in the first quarter, but then didn't do a very good job in the second half coming out and finishing it. You know, that's a huge emphasis for us, is especially down there at that place. You've got to start out on a good note, and then more importantly, once you come back out after halftime, you've got to start out on a good note. You know, because that's something that those guys feed off of. They always have. Once they've got some blood in the water, they're going to go after you. And so you've just got to do a good job of keeping that blood out of the water, so to speak, and coming out fast. And then, like I said, sustaining that intensity the whole way through.